All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we recap Week 17 in the NFL and, of course, look ahead to Niners and Lions on Monday night. And, of course, this video brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. And this video is also brought to you by Mancini's. Mancini's Sleep World is a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They offer a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com. Find a bed that works for you. Whether you shop online or visit in-store, use the code KRUG10 and you'll get 10% off your mattress purchase. Again, that's Krug10, K-R-U-E-G 10, and you'll get 10% off your mattress in-store at any Mancini's or online at sleepworld.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about the weekend that was in the NFL. Now, of course, the Niners get going against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football to wrap up Week 17. The Niners are not headed to the playoffs, but it is going to be a good litmus test to see exactly where the 49ers are. The Lions have a bunch of injured players, but they are also an incredible team on their way to the NFC playoffs. And the 49ers are having a rough year and will not be going to the playoffs, but it'll be a good indication of where exactly the 49ers sit in the whole pecking order in the NFC. Let's talk a little bit about Week 17 and just recap the games from this weekend. It was a really long week. It went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It wrapped up. So you had games almost every day. Wednesday, there was the Christmas doubleheader. Chiefs beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh 29-10 in that first game. Patrick Mahomes, 3 touchdown passes, 320 yards. Chiefs have clinched home field advantage in the AFC playoffs. The road to the Super Bowl rolls through Arrowhead Stadium. And Kansas City's playing well. 4th time in 7 years, they've got the number 1 seed in the AFC. They got a chance at a three-peat. They're 15-1 on the year. Pittsburgh falls to 10-6, and they've lost 3 in a row. Pittsburgh not looking all that good in this game. Mahomes against the Steelers, by the way, 4-0 career, 17 touchdowns, 1 pick. So he owns the Steelers. And Travis Kelce got his 77th touchdown, breaking Tony Gonzalez's franchise mark. Kansas City without Chris Jones, who was out with the calf injury, and their 3rd game in 11 days, you never would have known it. They came out, they beat the Steelers down 29-10. Kansas City right now is peaking on the offensive side of the ball for sure, with the playoffs just around the corner. That was the first game on Wednesday. The second game on Wednesday was the Ravens and the Texans in Houston, and it was all Ravens. 31-2. Lamar Jackson, 3 touchdowns. He broke the NFL career rushing record for a quarterback, a record that was held by Michael Vick. Lamar threw for 168 and 2 touchdowns. He ran for 87 yards and another touchdown. Baltimore is 11-5, and they in Week 18, if they need a Week 18 win over the Browns to win the AFC North over the Steelers. So the Ravens roll into the final week of the season needing a win over Cleveland to win the AFC North. Derrick Henry rushed for 147 yards and a touchdown. Houston, really what a rough end to their year. I mean, the Texans are still headed to the playoffs, but man, Tank Dell's done for the year with the knee injury, and they really did miss him offensively coming down the stretch. C.J. Stroud was sacked 5 times. He threw a pick. Houston's 9-7, but they've lost 2 in a row. Kyle Hamilton had another interception in this game for the Ravens. Ravens playing well, Houston not so much, and Houston 31-2. Only the safety is all the Texans got as far as scoring. So that was Wednesday. Then Thursday, the Seahawks beat the Bears 6-3 at Soldier Field. Seahawks go to 9-7. Bears fall to 4-12. Reek Woolen with the game-clinching interception for the Seahawks. For Chicago, it was their 10th straight defeat. Seattle had 7 sacks, 2 by Leonard Williams. Geno Smith threw for 160 in the win. Seattle had lost 2 in a row. Caleb Williams, by the way, for the season thus far has been sacked 67 times. Seattle's been great this year on the road. They're 6-1 on the road. Chicago 0-4 under their interim head coach, Thomas Brown, who took over for Matt Eberflus. Bears will finish up at Green Bay in Week 18. Now, Saturday also was a triple header. Chargers crushed the Patriots 40-7 to clinch a playoff berth. Chargers go to 10-6. Justin Herbert with 3 touchdown passes. Jim Harbaugh's 4th playoff appearance in 5 seasons as an NFL head coach. He made it in the first 3 with the Niners, then went 8-8, and now in his first year with the Chargers, he's going back to the playoffs. Ladd McConkey, who is probably who the Niners should have drafted instead of Ricky Pearsall, had 8 catches for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. He set the Chargers rookie record for receptions with 72, breaking Keenan Allen's record. J.K. Dobbins is back healthy. He had 19 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Dobbins is the key for the Chargers. When they have him, they win. When they don't have him, they don't have enough running game to win. So it was great to see him back for them. New England falls to 3-13. They've lost 6 in a row. New England 2-14 in the last 2 seasons at home. Drake May was sacked 4 times, 8 straight game with at least 1 turnover for Drake May. And the Chargers get blown out, or I should say the Patriots get blown out at home by the Chargers, 40-7. Also on Saturday, the Bengals beat the Broncos 30-24. Bengals are 8-8. Broncos, lose this game, and Joe Burrow was incredible. 3 touchdown passes to T. Higgins, and he had a 3-yard touchdown pass to Higgins in overtime, and that was the game winner. Higgins wound up with 11 catches for 131 yards and the 3 touchdowns. Cincinnati, first win this year over a team with a winning record. Burrow was 39 of 49 for 412 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's amazing. They're 500. He's been absolutely incredible all year long. Jamar Chase had 9 catches for 102 yards. Marvin Mims for Denver had 8 catches for 103 yards and a couple touchdowns in his own right. But the Bengals get the win over the Broncos, 30-24. Also on Saturday, the Rams beat the Cardinals 13-9 in L.A. Akello Witherspoon with the game-saving interception at the end. It looked like the Cardinals were going down for the winning score. In fact, the Cardinals had 3 trips inside the red zone at the end of that game, only resulted in 3 total points. Puka Nacua had 129 yards receiving, but it was Witherspoon's interception with 37 seconds left that sealed the win for the Rams. Kyron Williams with another rushing touchdown. Break up the Rams. Wow, they're playing well. They've won 5 straight. They've won 9 of 11. Kyler Murray threw for 324 yards, but had 2 interceptions late in this game. Trey McBride, 12 catches for 123 yards. He's a fantastic tight end. LA will take on Seattle in Week 18. LA has won 3 in a row against Seattle and 11 of 15 against the Seahawks, and they still have a shot to potentially make the playoffs. Bills on Sunday crushed the Jets 40-14 to clinch the AFC's number 2 seed. Buffalo's 13-3. They clinched their 5th straight AFC East division title. Jets fall to 4-12. Josh Allen threw for 2 touchdown passes and then ran for a 3rd to become the first NFL player to score 40 touchdowns in 5 consecutive seasons. Josh Allen is probably your MVP. Buffalo had 3 takeaways. They also had 4 sacks of Rodgers. Jets have a 14-season playoff drought, the longest in the NFL. Jets fall to 2-9 under Jeff Ulbrich, who took over for Robert Saleh. New York, once again, was sloppy. 16 penalties for the Jets for 120 yards. Raiders suddenly are winning games. They win their 2nd in a row. They're now 4-12. They beat the Saints 25-10. Saints fall to 5-11. It was Aiden O'Connell, 2 touchdown passes, and he threw for 242 yards. Brock Bowers, 7 catches for 77 yards. He has 108 receptions. Bowers does on the year. Tremendous year for the rookie from Napa. Amir Abdullah ran for 115 yards, easily the best day of his career. The Raiders' 2nd win in a row. Daniel Carlson with 4 field goals, and the Raiders improved their record to 4-12, and it looks like they are not going to wind up with the first pick in the draft. The New York Giants did crush the Indianapolis Colts, though, as well, to go to 3-13. 45-33 was the final. Eliminated Indianapolis from the playoffs. Indianapolis, Chris Ballard's a hell of a GM, but, they have not made the playoffs there. And they've had a lot of struggles. New York snapped a 10-game losing streak. They got their first home victory of the year. Drew Lock, if the 49ers are looking for a backup quarterback to Brock Purdy next year, they could maybe go after a guy like Drew Lock. He had 4 touchdown passes. He ran for a touchdown as well. He threw for over 300 yards. New York had lost 8 straight at home. Jonathan Taylor with a couple touchdown runs. He had 32 carries for 125 yards for the Colts. Malik Neighbors went off. 7 catches for 171 yards. Neighbors has 104 receptions, 1,140 yards, and 6 touchdowns. What a year he has had. The rookie from LSU has just been fantastic. Joe Flacco started this game for Anthony Richardson. He threw for 330, but he had 2 picks. Colts have not made the playoffs since 2020, and they don't make it this year. Eagles go to 13-3. They dominated the Cowboys 41-7 in Philly. Saquon Barkley topped the 2,000-yard mark. He had 167 yards. He's got 2,005 yards. And he needs 101 yards next week to beat out Eric Dickerson for the all-time record, 2,105 yards set by Dickerson in 1984. And Saquon Barkley's got a chance to eclipse that in Week 18. Philly clinches the NFC East Division title. Kenny Pickett ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown. And then Tanner McKee, the former Stanford Cardinal quarterback, came off the bench for an injured Pickett. Jalen Hurts didn't play because he was injured. McKee with 2 touchdown passes late. And Philly clinches the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs with the win over Dallas. And Dallas is just a really, really bad football team. And then Tampa gets their 9th win of the year. They crushed the Panthers 48-14. Baker Mayfield, wow, he's having a year. 5 touchdown passes, 359 yards passing. Tampa's playing great. They've won 5 out of 6. Bucky Irving, the rookie from Oregon, 20 carries for 120 yards. He also had 4 receptions for 77 yards. It was the Bucky Irving show. And Baker is 4-0 against Carolina, the team that cut him and released him just 2 years ago. He's now 4-0 against them. Tampa had 5 sacks of Bryce Young. Mike Evans, 8 catches for 97 yards. And the Buccaneers, 9-7. They get the win. Washington beat Atlanta 30-24. The first of what was going to be many battles between Michael Penix and Jayden Daniels. Daniels went 5 for 5, though, in the overtime and hit Zach Ertz with what was his 2nd touchdown of the game for the game winner in the overtime. And Washington gets the win 30-24 in overtime. Daniels was 24 of 36 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 1 pick. He was sacked 5 times, but he ran 16 times for 127 yards. And Washington ran for 211 in this game, over 6 yards a carry. Michael Penix played well. He was 19 of 35 for 223. He had a touchdown. He had a pick. He was sacked a couple times. But Washington was just too much. And Quan Martin on defense, 8 tackles and a pick for the young DB. And Washington gets the win, and they clinch a playoff berth in the first year there of their new regime. And, good for them. Good for them. Quinn and obviously Adam Peters and Bob Myers in Washington, the new regime there, and they're going to the playoffs. Jaguars beat the Titans 20-13 behind Mac Jones. Jaguars are 4-12. Titans are 3-13. Brian Thomas Jr., what a year. 7 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown today. Thomas has been one of the best receivers in the NFL, really in the last 6 weeks. Been fantastic. Jacksonville swept the Titans on the season. Tennessee's lost 5 in a row and 7 of their last 8. Dolphins are 8-8. They beat the Browns 20-3 in Cleveland. Tyler Huntley started this game for Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins now need to win in Week 18 against the Jets and have the Broncos lose to the Chiefs in Denver to make the playoffs. And you might say, well, no sweat. But Kansas City's going to rest Mahomes, and they're going to rest all their starters. So we'll see, if they can get the win against Denver in Denver without Mahomes. Kansas City is I should say Dolphins go to 8-8. Cleveland is 3-13. They've lost 5 in a row. DTR started this game for Cleveland. He had an interception. He had a fumble. He had 3 intentional grounding penalties. Tyreek Hill had 9 catches for 105 yards for the Dolphins. A windy, wet day and in Cleveland, and the Dolphins get the win, and they still have their playoff hopes alive. And the Vikings beat the Packers 27-25 behind Sam Darnold's career day Minnesota's 14-2 under Sam Darnold. Darnold threw for 377, a career high. He had 3 touchdowns. He looked fantastic. Minnesota's hard to beat at home. They're 7-1 at home. Green Bay this year is a good team. They're 11-5, but they're 0-5 against Minnesota, Detroit, and Philadelphia, the 3 best teams in the conference. They just can't beat them. Minnesota's won 9 in a row. Blake Cashman, what an addition he was. The linebacker, the former Texan, 11 tackles and a sack. Cashman's had a tremendous year. And now Minnesota will sets up a Minnesota-Detroit showdown in Motown in Week 18 for the NFC North Division title, the first round bye in the playoffs, and the number 1 seed in the NFC. Whoever wins that game in Week 18 between the Lions and the Vikings is going to have the first round bye and the number 1 seed in the NFC. So very, very, interesting Week 17 for sure. The Vikings look really, really good. They really did. And Sam Darnold looks good. Washington is playing really well. They're looking good. The Eagles are playing fantastic. The Eagles look like they've got 3 quarterbacks that can all play between Jalen Hurts, Kenny Pickett, and now Tanner McKee. Tampa Bay Bucs, what a year Bucky Irving is having. What a year Baker Mayfield is having. The Bills look great right now. They're playing terrific football. The Chargers now have J.K. Dobbins back, and they appear to be peaking. The Bengals are playing good ball with Joe Burrow. The Chiefs are playing good ball. The Ravens look really good. So the playoffs in the NFC the playoffs in the NFL will not include the 49ers. But it's going to be great theater. I mean, if you're a football fan, these NFC and AFC playoffs in the month of January are going to be epic. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video. And once again, use that code KRUEG10, K-R-U-E-G 10, and you'll get 10% off in-store or online at sleepworld.com. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krueger Show on YouTube.